Hey guys, here we go into a quick film study on Wilder versus Ortiz 2 and the importance of transitioning your weight when attacking your opponents, right? And part of that reason is because you need to continue to threaten your opponent's positions. Otherwise, they're going to be in a position that they're comfortable fighting you in. And as we saw in the fight, on average, Luis Ortiz was able to throw and land more punches than Deontay Wilder, especially in the beginning of the fight, because of the fact that Ortiz, on average, is a better fighter than Wilder. He understands positions better. He understands when he's in danger and when he's not, and he has more experience. And that allows him to fight out of certain positions much better than Wilder. However, one of the things that Wilder does, and what he did throughout the fight, is go from fighting in one position to another. And as he was able to do that and threaten Luis Ortiz's positions more often, he was able to get Ortiz fighting out of positions that he was less comfortable with and understood less of the risk, right? And that's the situation you have in the knockout, which we won't be going over in this video, but let's go ahead and get into it. So here you have Wilder fighting out of one position, coming forward and controlling Luis Ortiz here. But because of the fact that Wilder doesn't have the experience, right, Ortiz is able to start setting up some punches on him, right? But Wilder is doing the right thing. He's controlling that lead hand. The only problem is he's not controlling him with every weight transition, right? He's only doing it with one weight transition, which is on the front foot, not transitioning his weight from his back foot to his front foot, but his front foot to his back foot only, and only using that as his jab to threaten Ortiz's position. And because of that, Ortiz is able to say, okay, I'll just time him on that and then start setting up some shots. And that's how Wilder was falling behind on the cards. Now, there were some times where he was able to catch him with the hook here, but for the most part, because Wilder's not transitioning his weight, he's keeping his weight in one spot. Notice his head's in the same spot. He's kind of reaching for shots, but he's having a hard time actually landing shots or getting Ortiz out of a position and into a position in which he can attack him. Notice he's having a very difficult time with the way that he's controlling the space, right? No weight transitions. He kind of loves that long steppy thing. And again, the same thing, just kind of doing the same motion, right? Only trying to control him on the front foot, right? Not using his shoulder feint on his right arm, not feinting the right hand at all. And that means that Ortiz knows when he's being in danger or when he is in danger. And he knows that his weight is going to go from the front foot here to the back foot, and he's going to be able to land this free shot because Wilder's not threatening with his backhand. He's not in a position to really throw it. And Wilder continuously found himself in that position because he wasn't moving his head or transitioning his weight when he would feint and probe. And also because of that, when he would finally move his head, it was moved into a direction in which Ortiz was able to set up a shot. So Ortiz was able to feint him, right, moving forward, boom, and get him out of position to land his big shots. Again, that's because Wilder is not threatening the position, right? He's not feinting, he's not probing. The only time that he winds up transitioning his weight in this motion is when Ortiz makes him. And because Ortiz is making him transition his weight in that regard, Ortiz is able to land some big shots. Now again, the same motion where Wilder is on the front foot only, feinting on the front foot, controlling him with the jab. But watch Luis Ortiz's hand, right? Controlling that lead hand too. He's playing the same game to make sure that he's safe. Now, because Ortiz is better in this fighting in this position than Wilder, he's able to see these shots coming. And in spite of the fact that Wilder wins this exchange with this left hook right here, boom, he's still, on average, not winning the engagements because Ortiz is better fighting at these positions than Wilder is. That's why he was ahead on the scorecards. In my opinion, I had him ahead on the scorecards. But again, Wilder committing to these shots, and he's not transitioning his weight. And again, Ortiz is able to set up his counters and land shots because of the fact that every time Wilder does anything, he commits all of his weight to it. Now we're going to go ahead and get into, I believe, the fourth round. The fourth round starts out very similar. Wilder's starting to come forward, but notice again, he's not really transitioning his weight very well. He's only fighting on the front foot right now, but his head position is not changing. He's not really moving his head, and when he finally does move his head, it's only to be walked into a shot by Ortiz, and Ortiz is able to continuously find him and land these big shots. Now, after Wilder kind of got hit with a couple of body shots, Wilder kind of got a little upset and started fighting Ortiz. And now notice the difference in his weight transitions now in the fourth round, how he's going to be leaning on that front foot, leaning on the back foot. Notice his weight is on his front foot here, right? Back foot, front foot, back foot, front foot. And all these motions, because his head is there, he's already got his weight in his front foot, so he can let his right hand go anytime. He doesn't have to worry about being controlled. So now Ortiz has to worry about a quick weight transition because his weight is already on the front foot into a right hand. So Wilder is actually able to control Ortiz a lot better with the feints and the probes because he's controlling him now, because he's actually keeping his weight on his front foot. Notice when he gets feinted a little bit, he moves his weight to his back foot here. And then he looks to quickly recover that position by leaning on his front foot, right, and controlling Ortiz. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in depth in my Patreon video, which will be going up shortly after this video. But continue watching Wilder transition his weight. Notice the difference in the way that he's coming forward now. All of his weight is on his front foot now, right? All of it is on his back foot, front foot, front foot, and he's able to easily feint Ortiz and get him out of position. You know, notice these feints are just so much different than the ones he was doing in the beginning of the fight, where he's actually able to, when he's leaning on this front foot here, threaten the right hand. Right now, Ortiz has to be worried about putting his head on the front foot because of these jabs, as well as the right hand, which is ultimately the shot that knocks him out. But that's because of the fact that Wilder goes from his active guard here. Notice his head's not moving anywhere. His head's not on his front foot. He doesn't have any control of his balance, and Ortiz is able to start setting shots up to going to this position where now he's transitioning his weight, right? So much different. Even though it seems like it's such a small piece of information or such a small amount, right? It's a huge difference in what you're trying to accomplish against your opponents and what you're actually getting done. Because even though sometimes it looks very similar, if you're not transitioning your weight and you're not moving your head, you're not changing head slots, you're not doing that stuff, you're not giving your opponent different targets or threatening different positions from your opponent. And that makes it very, very difficult for you to fight your opponent, especially in the case of Luis Ortiz, where on average, Luis Ortiz is a much better fighter. Now again, look at these weight transitions, right? Transition, 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 transition. And look at how simple this is and how much different the pace of the fight is, right? Boom, feint, 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 feint. And Ortiz is not able to counter on this left hook. But look at how wide open Wilder is. But because of the fact that he's hiding these transitions so well, and hiding this one, Ortiz is not able to counter. Now, what do we know about nearly every single right hand Wilder threw in this fight? Ortiz was able to counter it, right? Slip to the outside and then come over with his own shot. But because of the active guard that Wilder has here, he's able to threaten that position, and he's able to take that timing away from Ortiz, because now Ortiz doesn't know that, oh, he transitioned his weight. He transitioned his weight. He doesn't know that a right hand is going to come every single time, which is so much different when you have clips like this. I think this is the right clip. No, that's not it. No. Clips like this, where when he does transition his weight, finally, notice no weight transitions, and then he finally does, he winds up getting countered and eats a shot, right? Because you have so many fewer opportunities like that for Ortiz to understand that the shot is going to come. Now in the fifth round, notice the difference between the active guard. Ortiz is the one coming forward now. His position has been threatened, and he's looking to take position back, or take the control of the fight back from Wilder. And Wilder winds up getting kind of stuck in his active guard and not transitioning his weight. As you can see here, he's back to what he was doing in round one, and all of a sudden Ortiz is able to set up big shots, right? Even though that one lands probably on his chest or his collarbone or something, that shit hurts, man, and you don't want to be taking shots like that. But again, Wilder kind of gets back a little bit to it, feinting, controlling him, right? And transitioning his weight, right? Leaning forward on the front foot, allowing his weight to sink in, and it throws Ortiz off. It stops him from being as effective with his counters because all of a sudden Wilder is doing things like this, right? Transitioning his weight, changing head slots, and threatening different positions against Ortiz, right? And look at how seamless this jab is after, right? And Ortiz is not even able to counter when Ortiz has been countering so many of the shots from Wilder, right? But just getting back into his active guard, and then as soon as he falls out of it, he starts slowing down, he gets countered again, right? Because all of a sudden he becomes predictable. Now, this is the last clip we're going to show on this film study. And it's really important to pay attention to because this also sets up the knockout, right? What Wilder is doing here, he's taking control of the lead foot, right? He doesn't want Ortiz on the lead foot. He doesn't want Ortiz getting lead foot dominance. So he's attacking that zone. He's attacking that area with his hooks, right? And trying to keep Ortiz on his back foot, right? But notice also how he's going to continue going forward. And he's got that feinting active guard style. And look at this. Look at the rotation on his. Look at the feet, right? So it's going to be left foot. Wait, left foot. Left foot, right foot. Left foot, right foot. Left foot, right foot. Left foot, left foot, right foot. Left foot, right foot. Left foot, right foot. Right? When he throws this series of punches here, he's on the same beat that he's threatening his opponent's positions, right? Feint, 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 boom, boom, boom. But all of the attacks are on the same beat. And because he has an active guard, and he's constantly rotating his weight, all he has to do is add the punches in, and it comes at the same beat. And Ortiz is not able to counter. This is very, very, very important for understanding the way that your body mechanics work and the way that you want to fluidly move around the ring when you transition your weight, and understanding that every time you transition your weight with a step, you're also able to throw a punch, as we can see what Wilder does here with that same motion, right? Step, right? Or that same rhythm, right? Step, 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 punch, step, step, and then step, 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 right? It's the same beat, the same timing for his motion of his feet, right? And then the motion of his punches, right? That's not like a super fast combination, but it's very, very, very important that you understand that your active guard is the same rate, at the speed at which you can move your shoulders and move your feet and turn your hips and transition your weight is going to be the same motion and the same rate at which you can throw punches, as Wilder is demonstrating in this clip here. Again, just watch it a few times and understand that all of those weight transitions, right, are very, very, very important for him being able to throw those punches. Anyway, if you guys are interested, I'm going to be posting another clip on my Patreon today. It's going to be talking about positioning and why Wilder was able to knock Ortiz out. So check that out. It's $10 a month. I'm also going to be doing some training videos today, and I'll hopefully be putting those out tonight. But they're going to be dealing with positioning as well, and blocking punches. As one of the things we saw in this fight, Ortiz did not block that right hand that he thought he was going to block. And we're going to talk about a little bit why in the Patreon video, as well as dissect ways to train this kind of stuff and training weight transitions. So maybe that'll be the video that I put out tonight for the training video, is one of the drills that you can use to practice training your weight transitions, to make it a little bit easier. But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys appreciate the YouTube videos and you're not interested in the training videos, hit me up on Patreon, send me a buck, be a fight fan. I really appreciate it. It goes a long way to making me more able to do videos like this. But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks, guys.